Welcome to the Produce Moms Podcast, where we believe there is a produce mom in all of us. I'm Lori Taylor, founder and CEO of the Produce Moms. For 10 years, I sold fresh produce to over 300 grocery stores in the U.S. And today, my team and I are fully focused on inspiring people to eat more fruits and vegetables. This show is just one of the ways that we hope to inspire you and your family to eat more produce and live a better life. If you like what you're hearing on the podcast, join our community of almost 40,000 in all 50 states and over 30 countries by visiting theproducemoms.com/subscribe. And be sure to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes. Thanks for being here. Enjoy today's show. Welcome back, everyone. This is the Produce Moms Podcast. My name is Lori Taylor. I am the founder of the Produce Moms. I'm the host of this show, and each and every week, we welcome an amazing guest. And I am so excited about today's guest. It's going to be one of your favorite episodes because it's a fangirl episode for me. I have been eating South 40 Snacks sunflower seeds for like the last year. And our guest today was really a catalyst for me even knowing that South 40 seeds existed. So we are welcoming to the show today, Josh Schroeter. He is the CEO and founder of South 40 Snacks. They make the most amazing sunflower seeds, and they are literally giant size. Like if you are a sunflower seed fan, you have never had a sunflower seed quite like this. And like what we always say, fresh produce, hey, plant-based proteins, let's keep it authentic and real. And nothing is more real when it comes to plant-based protein than things like seeds. So Josh, we are so glad you're here. Welcome to the show. It's going to be a great episode.
Thank you, Lori. I'm happy to be here. This is great.
Oh, it is so great. Josh and I were laughing. We record all these podcasts on Zoom. So before we kind of got going with the recorded conversation here, I noticed that in the background and right here in my office, I've got a little snack bowl on top of my china cabinet that's in the office. And I was like, oh, Josh, by the way, there's a bag of South 40 snack seeds right there over my shoulder in that bowl. I'm an authentic, huge fan, Josh. I think you've got a remarkable product, it's unlike anything I've ever seen before in the grocery store. I mean, sunflower seeds, yes, of course, I've seen them. Many different brands, many different flavors, applications, et cetera. But the South 40 Snacks take on sunflower seeds is exactly what I love about food. It's like a simple ingredient, but the best in class,
Yeah, well, and I think that's sort of central to kind of everything we're doing, this notion that kind of all commodities are not all the same. Sunflower seeds are not all the same. And it's really true for all sorts of nuts and seeds and fruit. Obviously, there's different varietals, there's different sizes, there's different grades. And that's part of what's really fun about this is introducing a varietal of sunflower seed that is unique in the U.S. So
it is. And it's, anyone who's tried them, you're nodding your head along like, yep, it's a very unique experience of what's always been known as just kind of a ordinary thing, sunflower seeds, not when you try South 40 Snacks sunflower seeds. So Josh, you have a fascinating background rooted in entrepreneurship. So please, as part of our introductory remarks here, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Sure. So I've been in the food business, CPG business for, I guess about 17, 18 years now. Before that, I was in the media world and academia. I was a journalist, a television news reporter right out of college. So I kind of fell into the food business in, I guess it was 2004, and started a company with my best friend called Sahale Snacks. So, I guess our claim to fame there was that we reinvented the packaged nut and trail mix categories with, unique blends of nuts like people had never seen before. And did that for 10 years before we sold that company to Smuckers in 2014. And now I'm doing South 40 Snacks. So that's the new gig, and really love the food business though. So I got to tell you, it's just such a area of I mean, really going through so much change right now. And, there's really a food revolution underway, and it's not a fad. It's not letting up. So it's a really exciting place to be.
It is exciting. And one thing too, it's so cultural. You are an example of how, like, you know what, like, tell us a little bit more about your sunflower seeds. I know that they're not your run of the mill sunflower seeds. So tell our audience a little bit more about where they're from and that cultural side.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I will say, like, very much like my previous company too. I mean, my passion as an entrepreneur is really kind of innovating and disrupting categories of snack food that really haven't seen a lot of innovation. And, elevating the category, as I said, from just kind of mere commodity stuff to, really premium and differentiated. And for me, that's kind of where, that's what drives me. That's what gets me excited, to start working every day.
Mm-hmm.
The sunflower seeds came from, I was actually on the advisory board of a large sunflower seed company, now one of my competitors. They ended up being purchased by Conagra. But that kind of really got me thinking about sunflower seeds. And I realized that the sunflower seed category was probably like the only category of snack food that hasn't really seen crazy growth. That is really stagnant, kind of a sleepy category, even a declining category with no innovation, and completely dominated at this point by by two large companies, Conagra and Frito Lays. So Conagra owns the David's brand and the Big's brand, and Frito Lay, the Spitz brand. And that's kind of it. Innovation in the category would be a new flavor.
Absolutely.
That would be it. Occasionally a little bit of new packaging, but even the packaging has not seen a lot of change over the years. So really a category that I love, just because it's ripe for reinvention and no one's really paying attention. So I happen to know about these giant sized seeds that only grow in Israel. And I knew about it because when I was a kid, I lived over there for a few years and became, like many people do, hopelessly addicted to these sunflower seeds. And of course, couldn't get them. They were just like unavailable over here in the States. And I could not really bring myself to eat the other sunflower seeds. So it's an interesting category because it's a category that most people don't like that much. And just because it's, most people will tell you, well, it's hard to eat them. It's a lot of work and not much payoff. And that's kind of like the general attitude about sunflower seeds. And I'm like, okay, well, we can check those boxes because we've got a bigger seed. It's easier to crack, and the payoff is huge. So, I started thinking about it. And of course, having my background in snack food and nuts and seeds in particular, and kind of knowing the retail space pretty well, I thought, well, maybe we could make a go of it. And it kind of started as like a little hobby business, but it's not exactly that anymore. Mm-hmm. I went over to Israel to see if I could make a go of it, figure out the supply chain, make sure there's enough seed, make sure that it was feasible. And that's how it started. So I just started shipping container loads over. I got a partner in the US who helps me with the roasting and packing.
Right.
And so we ship container loads of raw seeds over. Each container is about 29,000 pounds.
Wow. That's a lot. Seed.
Yeah. So we're shipping, several containers every month, and it's growing. And, we're having some really good success in the marketplace, and people really, really love the seeds. Just go to, all you have to do is go to our website and look at all the reviews.
The reviews. Exactly. Josh. Cool. Yes. Cause Josh sent me just like an introductory email to everyone, like saying, hey, my name's Josh. Here's my sunflower seeds. And as you can imagine, we get so much of that. But the minute I went to your website, I was like, oh my gosh, this is legit. I have to try these. The reviews are unbelievable. Like, it's absolutely evident that you're onto something. So let's talk about the name, because we're talking about the culture and the fact that you're buying these container loads of raw product from Israel because it's the only place in the world where these premium sunflower seeds are grown. You're shipping them back to the US, roasting them here in the States. It kind of explained that story even on your packaging. Are they roasted in Seattle? I can't remember.
No, they're roasted at the moment. We're roasted in the southern part of the US.
Okay.
And so we've had a couple different co-manufacturing partners, but we were settled in now with a good one, and really kind of positioned to scale the business.
Awesome. And
the name, to answer your question about the name.
Yes, I have to find out what South 40 Snacks means.
So I always agonize about names. Names is a really hard thing.
Yeah, but it's so important.
It is important. So, I really looked at considered a lot of different names. This one stuck. What I like about South 40 is it's an American colloquialism. Its origins come back from the Homestead Act of 1862. Mm-hmm. And the South 40 refers to, the 40 acres in your 160 acre plot, your homestead. And so people used to often say, hey, I'll meet you on the South 40, meet you on the North 40. It was just kind of a saying. And so it refers to the South 40 acres on a homestead. Well, I like it, A, because it's got a really nice ring to it. And B, I think because of its agricultural roots.
Right.
We're talking about a product that's unadulterated, that is of and from the earth. So it's just, it's natural, and it kind of fits with our packaging, which is totally transparent and minimalist, if you will. And I also see it as a name that's extensible. It's a name and a brand that's extensible beyond sunflower seeds. And that was really why I picked it. And, but I think its agricultural roots, kind of and from the earth, is really what I like about it.
Yeah, for sure. And so what comes first, the domain or the brand name? I want you, first of all, anyone who's with us, you have to go to south40snacks.com, and the 40 is the numeric 40. So south40snacks.com. But Josh, which one? I mean, that's also a huge component of it. Like, you have to not only have a great name, but you have to be able to establish that home base online with a good domain that matches your brand name.
Yeah, well, as you know, Lori, I mean, you have to get most things right to be successful, to launch a successful business. You don't get everything right, and you learn along the way, but you got to get things, I think, pretty much mostly right. So obviously the name, the brand, the packaging, it's the 4 or 5 P's of marketing, right? You got to get them right, mostly right. So product, packaging, pricing, promotion, placement, all those things, just really key.
Yeah, you're right. And so obviously I think this product belongs in the produce department because it's a premium product. And I think the produce department is the showcase of all of the best products that the grocery store has. It's the showcase of the most nutrient dense products in the entire grocery retail industry. So is that where you're seeing your product being slotted, or should shoppers look for it next to sunflower seeds in the snack aisle, or both, or what? Yeah,
no, we're very serious and very focused on produce for our grocery strategy, of course. In other channels, you're not going to, there is no produce, right? So if you're talking about convenience channel or alternate channels, other retail channels, you're just not going to be in produce. Even in the natural channel, generally the Whole Foods of the world, I mean, they don't put packaged foods in produce generally. So it's really kind of about grocery. And as you and so many of your, your audience know, produce is where the action is. Produce is the perimeter. It's where people are looking for fresh. It's where people are looking for higher quality stuff. And I think, just because we are so differentiated, because the quality is there's 2 ingredients. Seeds and a little salt.
Yeah.
We're not adding all the artificial stuff and junk. And so, being positioned in produce versus, the salty snack aisle, I think has really been central to our success. And, for me, the role model there is Wonderful. Look at Wonderful Pistachios. Look at what they have done.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, they're my role model.
That is a great company to study because, I mean, Josh, when I was growing up, like no one knew about pistachios. And if they did, they were like dyed red and
exactly.
Like maybe something that you had at Christmas time, maybe, but they were like certainly not this glorified year-round item that was perceived as, an ultra premium nut that you so
exactly.
It's such a good model to emulate, like what they've done as a company and what they've accomplished. They are definitely a gold standard amongst all of the brands and all of grocery, really, but most definitely in produce.
Yeah. I mean, most sunflower seeds today are bought and sold in gas stations. So,
Makes sense.
that's not unlike where pistachios were years and years ago. And so I think the opportunity really is to communicate and turn consumers onto these seeds in a context and in a place where that quality just gets reinforced. And so our strategy is let's go direct into produce everywhere we can. And so today, you'll find us in multiple Safeway regions, Kroger regions, HEB, Giant Eagle, and other retailers that are bringing us on. And produce is key. And also we have, again, very much like Wonderful, we do these dump-in displays. And so, it's kind of easy placement in and out, pulsing in, dump in rotations of seeds, every couple months throughout the year. And I think, it reinforces everything we want about how we're different. And I think the fact that we're successful in other channels also reinforces that. So in say a Whole Foods or Erewhon, some of the natural stores and specialty markets where we're not in produce, they're carrying sunflower seeds. They never even carried sunflower seeds before.
Right.
And
because they never had a brand that matched their brand guidelines really in terms of what they're going to slot.
What would they carry? I mean, some of the Whole Foods folks, they that's weird. Like we really never had in-shell sunflower seeds before. So that's a first for us as well. So that's I think produce, and that's part of why I'm so excited to be on this podcast, because it's just produce is central to the strategy, central to what's working, central to how we differentiate and really grow the brand. So.
Yeah. And, so sunflower seeds are a big part of my home, mostly because of my children. Joe and Mac both play baseball. And it's like, sunflower seeds go with, baseball as much as like the uniform or the bat and the glove do. I mean, it's like they can't go to a game without sunflower seeds in their bag. So we buy a lot of sunflower seeds in the Taylor home. But for people that aren't necessarily sunflower seed consumers, especially in shell, what would your pitch be to a mom like me who's listening today, who's like not bought an in-shell sunflower seed maybe in her entire life? Like, why should she go buy your product?
Yeah. Well, and it's an interesting thing because a lot of people, they don't know how to eat sunflower seeds, or they just kind of don't know how to begin with it. And sunflower seeds, I mean, to me, I think what we find a lot of our customers, there's this whole nostalgia thing. They used to buy sunflower seeds, or they used to eat sunflower seeds, and they haven't for years, but they are again because they've discovered South 40. I think that the baseball connection and this notion about how you eat seeds, there's, if you look on YouTube, you'll see a lot of videos. A lot of people have this idea that, the way you eat sunflower seeds, you put a whole handful in your mouth. And I will tell you, that's interesting. I know that a lot of people enjoy eating them that way. And for some people that helps them stop chewing or whatever.
Right.
But I eat sunflower seeds one by one.
Mm-hmm.
And I think most people who eat our seeds eat them that way. I'm sure not everybody. And if not one by one, I'd recommend, start with 3 or 4, no more, because you won't be able to handle them in your mouth actually, because they are too big. So it is kind of a different eating experience. I don't really believe in telling people how to eat sunflower seeds because I don't see that as a successful strategy, really. I mean, people have to figure it out on their own. But there's an addictive quality. It's I call it activity-based eating. So, you're kind of using your hands, and for some people, it's great for like nervous energy.
Mm-hmm. That right there is why they're in my office in my snack bowl. Like if I'm listening to a conference call and I find myself getting nervous or whatever, sometimes that's what I'll turn to.
Yeah. So lots of mouth trips. I think the activity-based eating aspect of sunflower seeds is really interesting. I think that, the other piece of it is it's really kind of about passing the time. Baseball makes sense, long drives, watching movies, playing video games, hanging out in the outfield or in the dugout. All of that kind of makes sense with sunflower seeds. But I think the notion that, maybe it's not a handful eating activity, it's a one-by-one activity, makes it a lot more accessible to people who, are more used to peanuts or pistachios and shelling and getting at the goods inside. So I think that that's why we can bring new consumers into the category, why different retailers are carrying us, because it really is a different eating experience with South 40.
Yeah, it really is. But all those things you described, like the laid back nature of what sunflower seeds are, you also embody that nostalgia too. Like it's this whole new application, but it's so on par with what sunflower seeds at their, wholesome core level are meant to be,
Yeah. So part of what I'm really excited about is we are kind of changing the narrative or the notion about sunflower seeds as like a baseball, like it's something to, you only buy in the spring or you only buy during baseball season. Yeah. It's really, I will tell you, during COVID, and we got lots of emails from people really enjoyed the seeds, watching hours and hours of Netflix movies or what have you. Just dealing with the stressors of COVID. Right. It was a stress relief item as well. So, we're finding it's not so seasonal. It's really not. It's not seasonal, and it's not kind of tied to these almost stereotypical ideas about sunflower seeds.
Totally. And one of my testimonials that I can add to that, anytime we go on a beach vacation, it's like, I'm on the beach in a lawn chair. I need an alcoholic beverage in my hand. No, you don't. You can absolutely still pass the time. And I've taken the South 40 seeds with me to the beach, and it's a ton of fun. I don't feel like I'm missing out on something. I'm still, I don't know, what did you call that? The
activity-based eating.
Activity-based eating. So I'm still doing it. I'm just not downing, beers or margaritas. So
I love it. I love it.
Yes. So no, I'm obviously a fan, huge fan. I think that everyone listening today definitely needs to check it out. Josh, you've done a wonderful job explaining your sourcing strategies, what the brand is all about. Everyone, please check them out. South40snacks.com. They're on Thrive Market. They have a direct to consumer sales right on their website. So there's no reason why you can't try these. They're very accessible, even if they're not on shelf at your grocery store. But hey, you heard Josh himself say it. The stores that are slotting them are seeing great success. And that's a huge area of focus for them. So if your grocery store doesn't have them, ask for them by name. We have a blog on our website too, I think it's titled, "How do I request products at the grocery store?" So search for that and read it. And we have the numbers and all the contact information that you'll need to connect the dots with your grocery retailer and South 40 Snacks. But Josh, with that, oh my goodness, I love your product. I love your story. I've always enjoyed our conversations. And this one is absolutely no exception to that. But all of our traditions all of our episodes at theproducemoms.com traditionally conclude with our guest having the final word. So I'm going to pass the mic back to you for any closing remarks and the final goodbye to our listeners.
All right. Well, again, thank you for the opportunity to this has been really fun. I think I'll sort of end with kind of how I started, which is like, this is just the beginning for us. Like, we're only a 1 SKU company today, but that's about to change. And I think the focus, of just being able to help consumers understand that, like, all sunflower seeds aren't created equal, and I don't care, our next item that we're getting ready to launch here are raisins.
Okay.
Another super on fire, on trend category.
Totally.
But that's what I love about it. But there are these incredible giant sized raisins out there that are so good, and nobody knows about them. So we're going to have a lot of fun with raisins next. And I think just kind of look at different categories of commodities and say, well, how can we really elevate it and provide a different eating experience, and surprise and delight consumers with, just kind of bigger, better, tastier items that are pure and simple and from the earth. And join us.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Produce Moms Podcast. If you or someone you know would like to be a featured guest, just send an email to Lori@theproducemoms.com. We know there is a produce mom in you because there's a produce mom in all of us. Join our community on Facebook and all social platforms. Help us change the way America eats. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.